Coronation Street fans will see Jeff Metcalfe's terrible behavior continue next week, as he accuses Yasmine Nasir of being controlling. Jeff Ian Bartholomew is currently subjecting his partner to psychological and emotional abuse, as part of a long-running coercive control storyline. Viewers have seen Jeff spend the past few months slowly chipping away at Yasmine's confidence, constantly finding fault with her behavior and playing the victim. Next week, Jeff continues his cruelty ahead of a supposedly romantic break with Yasmine Shelley King. The idea of the trip comes about when Jeff lies to Yasmine, making out that he was planning to take her on holiday to Las Vegas. As Yasmine has been questioning Jeff about him browsing an online dating site, which he says is research for his radio show, he declares that the trip is off as it's clear she doesn't trust him. Next week, stressed out Yasmine tries her best to make amends with Jeff, insisting that they should still fly out to Vegas. She urges him to join her after making the arrangements, but he upsets her by heading out without bothering to reply. Later, Jeff returns home to find that Yasmine has packed both of their bags for the holiday, hoping they can still make their flight. Jeff once again makes a show of taking offense to this, berating Yasmine for doing his packing and accusing her of being controlling. In the end, Jeff agrees to go and loads their cases into the taxi. Aaliyah wishes her grandmother a lovely time, but will Jeff continue to make Yasmine's life a misery? Coronation Street bosses have been working with Women's Aid and Independent Choices Greater Manchester on the ongoing storyline. Corey producer Ian McLeod previously said, "I hope this story will help anyone going through similar experiences in the real world by highlighting that feeling undermined, belittled, controlled or intimidated by your partner is never okay. The old sticks and stones adage is just plain wrong. Words can be instruments of torture and manipulation. We will use your email address only for sending you newsletters. Please see our privacy notice for details of your data protection rights. Could not subscribe, try again later." Invalid email. Jeff Metcalfe will continue his disturbingly manipulative behavior towards Yasmine Nasir on Coronation Street next week, by accusing her of being controlling. Viewers of the ITV soap have watched Yasmine become a shell of her former self over the abuse, which has seen him stage a robbery and implement CCTV cameras throughout her house. Yasmine Shelley King was left terrified after her house was robbed and became frightened to even step foot outside. Of course, this was Geoff's Ian Bartholomew aim, so that she would be forced to rely on him for everything, including her finances. Jeff obtained an even tighter grip on Yasmine's life after buying Zidane's majority share in Speed Doll with Yasmine. This week, Jeff plays mind games with Yasmine as he makes sure she sees him looking at a dating site, which he says is for research for his radio show. He continues to sap at her confidence by suggesting that she has an awful memory and that she never listens to a word he says. As if that weren't enough, Jeff outrageously lies to Yasmine by saying that he was planning to take her on a romantic break to Vegas, but says that he's not going to bother as she clearly doesn't trust him. Yasmine is left devastated and next week tries to implore Jeff to come with her to Vegas. However, he ignores her and heads out without bothering to reply. Later, Jeff returns home to discover Yasmine has packed their bags and is hopeful they can still catch their flight. But Jeff lashes out at her for doing his packing and accuses her of being controlling. Eventually, Jeff agrees to go on the holiday and he loads the cases into the taxi as Aaliyah says goodbye to her grandmother. Will Jeff be able to get into Yasmine's head even more on holiday? David Platt, Jack P. Shepard, has had an incredibly tough couple of months in Coronation Street, what with him currently serving time behind bars, but after being charged with attempting to murder rapist Josh Tucker, Ryan Clayton, matters became much more complicated. However, could he be about to be set free tonight ahead of his wedding to Shona Ramsey, Julia Golding? As a riot ensued within the confines of the prison several weeks back, Abe gave David an opportunity to seek revenge on the man who raped him when he dragged a battered and bruised Josh into his cell. After some deliberation, David decided against murdering Josh, for fear of being forced to spend life in prison for the sake of him. However, amid the chaos, Josh was stabbed, and David became prime suspect in the police investigation into the incident. Matters were made worse when Josh awoke in hospital and confirmed the coppers' suspicions, telling them that David was the one who stabbed him. With David facing a stretch inside for attempted murder, Shona is devastated, and she fears having to live her life without him by her side. In Monday's episodes, Nick Ben Price attempted to get Josh to change his mind, but Billy Daniel Brocklebank prevented him from doing so. Tonight, Billy attempts to talk Josh into revealing the truth, but the rapist is adamant that he's only interested in looking out for himself, as he wants to stop David from testifying in court. Later, Shona takes it upon herself to pack away all of her wedding stuff, having realized that there's little chance of the wedding taking place now. However, news arrives that new evidence has come to light, which could result in David being released. Will this come to pass? Will David finally get out of prison? What's more, will Shona and David tie the knot? Things are certainly moving fast for Maria Connor, Samia Longchamben, as she gets together with Sinister Cobble's killer Gary Windass, Mikey North, in Coronation Street. And, after moving in with him promptly, she will soon discover that she is pregnant, but is she ready to share the shock news with him? Gary has made his move on Maria after her relationship with Ali Neeson, James Burrows, fell apart over his painkiller addiction, and he is determined to keep them apart as he feels his jealousy rising. This will lead to intense Gary making a number of gestures to prove commitment to Maria, but is she as keen as she opts not to celebrate and broadcast the news that she is carrying his baby? A source told The Sun, Gary's decided he wants Maria and he goes all out to see Ali off and woo her. He buys her a hugely expensive 4x4 car and showers her with gifts before asking her to move in with him into Weatherfield's luxury flats on Victoria Court. He comes up with a convincing story about how he can afford it all, and she falls for it hook, line and sinker. One of the girls asks them if they're expecting, and Gary's answer all but confirms it, leading to Maria desperately shushing the cheers and congratulations. But will Gary be angry when he picks up on her uncertainty? Both parties already have children, with Maria bringing up her son Liam and Gary having sons Jake and Zach. He is tipped to be part of a huge autumn of storylines which will build up to an explosive Christmas Day showdown with his associate Derek, who seeks revenge after being double-crossed by Gary. Coronation Street is lining up a shock pregnancy plot for Maria Connor and serial killer Gary Windass as their relationship heads for trouble. The hairdresser, played by actress Samia Longchamben, is going to send shockwaves across the cobbles with news of her pregnancy, but is the pair's romance doomed? When is the baby due? The Sun exclusively revealed this month that Maria would confirm her pregnancy with supervillain Gary's baby in the Rovers while urging everyone to keep it a secret. But Corey fans will have to wait to find out when the baby is due, as exact details are being kept under wraps for now. How long have Maria and Gary been dating? Sparks first flew between the pair last month when Maria forgot her purse and Gary stepped in to pay for her shopping. It didn't take long for Maria to fall for Gary's charms as she agreed to babysit his son Jake in return for the favor, and there was obvious chemistry between the pair. Maria then made the bad mistake of arranging a date with bad boy Gary at the end of last month, but the pair are yet to make it official. How many kids do Maria and Gary have already? Gary is no stranger to being a father. He already has a son Jake with former lover Izzy Armstrong. He also has Zach after a fling with Nicola Rubenstein. Maria has a son Liam with her late ex Liam Connor and unfortunately suffered a stillbirth in 2008 at 6 months pregnant. What do we know about their relationship? Maria and Gary's relationship didn't get off to the best of starts on the ITV soap. The unlucky-in-love hairdresser has recently struggled to shrug off attention from her ex-lover, drug-addicted Dr. Ali Neeson. And after a tip-off from Adam in an episode at the end of last month, Gary made his way to the courtyard just in time to spot Ali and Maria leaning in for a steamy kiss. Later, Maria admitted the smooch to Gary, but insisted, "I don't want this to end. I really, really like you. I don't want him, I want you. You must think I'm mad," Gary replied before storming out of the hairdressing salon. But Gary will go to great lengths to win over Maria from his rival Ali in the coming months, and things get serious very quickly. It's another big week in the cobbles in our latest Coronation Street spoilers, as Robert Preston, Tristan Gemmell, finds himself the victim of a horrifying car crash, leaving Michelle Connor, Kim Marsh, both worried and inquisitive, and Gemma Winter, Dolly Rose Campbell, and Chesney Brown, Sam Aston, make a huge windfall, as they're given an offer they simply cannot refuse. Elsewhere, Peter Barlow, Chris Gascoigne, attempts to convince Daniel Osborne, Rob Mallard, to return home, and Roy Cropper, David Nielsen, informs Carla Connor, Allison King, about his secret brother. Monday the 11th of November Part 1 Michelle informs Aaliyah about Ray's habit for making unwanted advances, and warns her to watch out for him. However, Aaliyah confronts Ray over Michelle's comments, and he retaliates by issuing her with a letter for breach of contract and defamation. As Robert drives home from Vicky's, he receives a call from a devastated Michelle, but the call distracts him from the road and he ends up crashing his car. Roy reveals that his online Scrabble obsession is due to the fact that he believes his opponent to be none other than his secret brother, and Gemma and Chesney, and their quadruplets, are asked to be the new faces of the Freshco supermarket. Monday the 11th of November Part 2. Roy opens up to Carla about how he recently discovered that his mum had an affair and, as a result, he has a secret brother. After he informs her that he's got an address for his long-lost sibling, Carla encourages Roy to track him down, but, upon arriving at said address, he's left disappointed when the young woman at the door claims to have no recollection of a man named Richard. Michelle is horrified to learn that Robert's been in a car accident, but her interest is piqued when she realizes that he's being taken to the Macclesfield Hospital when he was supposed to be in Sandbach. She's later confused when Robert proceeds to ask her about a baby, and, later, she notices his Big Daddy necklace. Jeff is horrified to realize that Yasmin has packed a bag on his behalf for their Vegas trip, and proceeds to call her controlling, before agreeing to go. Gemma's furious with Bernie when she finds out that she took £500 worth of extras from the hotel in Llandudno. Wednesday the 13th of November Part 1 A worried Michelle questions Robert about her discoveries, but he's able to answer every single one of her questions. Meanwhile, a worried Vicky learns of what happened to Robert and rushes to be at his bedside, leaving him incredibly worried. With Bernie's actions having left them with no other choice, Gemma and Chesney meet with the Freshco manager to discuss the offer she previously made to them, and they're shocked when she proceeds to offer them £60,000. Roy returns to Richards, with Carla by his side, and the care worker lets him in, before informing him that Richard is suffering from pulmonary fibrosis. Wednesday the 13th of November Part 2 Roy reveals the truth to Richard, confirming that he's actually his brother. Robert's disgruntled as both Vicky and Michelle pay him visits at different times, but will they come face to face? A delighted Chesney and Gemma toast their winnings in the Rovers, and Bernie suggests they all go on a holiday. Gemma's quick to nip such an idea in the bud, as she claims her children are her top priority. Friday the 15th of November Part 1. Coronation Street is lining up a surprising pregnancy storyline for Maria Connor and Gary Windass as their relationship heats up over the coming weeks. The ITV soap has already lined up a romance story for Maria, Samia Longchamben, and Gary, Mikey North, following their recent chemistry and the pair later agreeing to go on a date, but now it looks like their relationship will get more serious very quickly. According to The Sun, Maria will shock revelers in the Rovers when she quietly confirms she's pregnant with Gary's baby, but asks them to keep it secret. The newspaper reports that the relationship between the pair will develop quickly and the pair prepare to move in together, prompting one of the girls to question why things are moving so fast, with Maria confirming the baby news as a result. Maria already has a son with her late husband Liam Connor, played by Rob James Collier between 2006 to 2008, while Gary has 2 kids himself, Jake with his ex Izzy Armstrong, Shirley Houston, and Zach with Nicola Rubenstein, Nicola Thorpe. Until recently, Maria had been enjoying a romance with Ali Neeson, before he unexpectedly called things off and Maria explored her connection with Gary instead, although things were tested after Ali angered Gary by kissing Maria in last night's episode. Of course, none of the residents of the street are currently aware that Gary is becoming quite the villain too, having already killed, accidentally or otherwise, Rana Habib and Rick Nealon. Discussing the romance plot between the pair, Samia recently said that Maria isn't fully aware of what she's getting herself into. "I think it has trouble written all over it because Gary is a bad lad," she said. Maria doesn't know that though and thinks that they have a lot in common, both being single parents of boys of a similar age. They start with a nice friendship and there's a natural progression into a relationship, but Maria definitely doesn't know what she's getting herself into. Maria, played by Samia Longchamben, has found herself in the center of a love triangle with Gary, Mikey North, and GP Ali Neeson, James Burrows, on Coronation Street of late, with the men fighting for her affections. Having had romantic dalliances with both ITV soap heartthrobs recently, the hairdresser is tipped for a pregnancy bombshell in the coming weeks. However, will the sinister loan shark be the father, or his love rival? After suffering from a drug addiction, Ali called time on his relationship with Maria earlier this year after months of sparks flying between the pair. The mother of one then caught the eye of Gary as she rode with her ex-boyfriend's mother Michelle Connor, Kim Marsh, about how the GP had broken her heart. As his villainous streak has become more apparent of late, the former builder turned his attentions towards striking a romance with the hairdresser, only for her ex to try and weigh in to win her back. Despite his best efforts, Maria will continue to pursue things with Lone Shark, but she could be left in turmoil as she discovers she's expecting and has no idea who the father is. Coronation Street spoilers: Maria Connor and Ali Neeson did have a brief romance earlier this year. Image, ITV. According to reports from The Sun, the coming weeks will see Gary go all out to show Maria he is in it for the long run. With his illegal empire building in the shadows, the loan shark will shower his girlfriend with elaborate gifts and even surprise her by asking the hairdresser to move into a plush new flat with him. At present, no one on the street is aware just how troubled and unhinged the ex-builder is, so naturally, the mother of one will fall for his web of lies. The speed of their relationship will raise a few eyebrows on the cobbles, however, which will lead to the discovery Maria is expecting. A source told the publication, "No one else quite knows why they are moving so fast until they go to celebrate moving in together in the Rovers, and Maria raises eyebrows by shunning the champers and only having a lime and soda." One of the girls asks them if they're expecting, and Gary's answer all but confirms it, leading to Maria desperately shushing the cheers and congratulations. Express.co.uk have contacted a spokesperson for the ITV soap who declined to comment on the speculation. If the plotline does come to fruition, could the hairdresser be downplaying the news because she doesn't want Ali to get ear of her condition? Last night's edition of the Weatherfield-based drama saw Gary's insecurities about his relationship with Maria unravel when she offered her ex a shoulder to cry on. Having been reported to the medical board after misdiagnosing a patient, the GP was feeling sorry for himself, and as the hairdresser showed him some kindness, he thanked her with a kiss. Unfortunately, the loan shark was lurking in the shadows and witnessed the moment of passion before confronting his girlfriend about what he'd seen. After Maria assured him she didn't want to get back with her former lover, the supervillain hired a private investigator to follow his love rival. Upcoming scenes will see Gary discover Allie has been harboring a drug addiction, only for the GP to learn about the loan shark's dodgy dealings. Viewers will have to see how the men react to their secrets coming under threat, but could putting a paternity dilemma in the mix cause even more aggro? If it emerges Maria's ex is the father if she is pregnant, will the criminal mastermind seek to get rid of his rival once and for all?